Kirk Franklin. I met Kirk on a few occasions. The one and only Mary, and God is working for your favor. And also, we are streaming live on Facebook this evening with Dr. Wayne McCray and Action First Broadcast. So everybody that's viewing us on Facebook and those who are listening to the radio, want to welcome you to Action First Broadcast. I'm Jerry Green, and we have live in the studio this evening. We have a young man that's very powerful, and he's going to educate us with a lot of his education for the organization. And we're speaking live with Brother Thomas Daniels of his organization, Fathers Cry 2 organization. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good this evening.
All right, I need you to talk right now, microphone for me, bro. So everything is going good?
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, welcome to W.J.R.G, man. We're excited to have you with us this evening. All right?
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Oh, all right. And also we have Dr. Wayne. He's going to be talking in a few minutes as well. So we have my brother doing a great job as well in gospel. So we have a lot to talk about this evening. But first of all, brother Thomas, let's talk about your organization, Fathers Cry 2. Now, how long has this organization been going on, and why the title Fathers Cry 2?
Fathers Cry 2 came in inception about 12 years ago.
Okay.
A year to my date of my son. My son was murdered in 2009.
Wow,
Fathers Cry 2 was born 2010. March 15th of 2010. Fathers Cry 2 was basically an answer to my pain and prayer.
Okay.
That, because after I lost my son,
how old was your son?
He was 18, 3 weeks from turning 19. That's what after I did grievance counseling, I found out that there just wasn't no advocate, not just for Black men, but for men, period.
Right.
And I would run into men who lost their children.
Right.
Before, their sons, their gun violence. And, being that they lost their son prior to me losing mine, I thought they had some type of insight or give me some type of advice. But I got the same answers from two different men. And I approached these guys, and I asked them, well, these two guys I approached are now, they're part of Fathers Cry 2.
Okay.
But anyway, when I approached them, I asked them, how do you deal with this? And they gave me the same answer. Just deal with it, nephew.
Wow.
Because we're internalizers, right? We're programmed like that. We're influenced by Freud. When he talk about the species or the genders and the sexes, when he say, women are emotional creatures, so they wear it on their sleeves, right? Us, we supposed to sit back, right? Be strong, silent, stoic, take it for the team,
right?
Right? And for somebody to say that, much as what my boy means to me, it's for them to say I'm not a human being.
Right. Now, did they ever apprehend the killer?
Yeah, they got the murdering thief.
Okay, they got him. Okay, good. Because a lot of times, sometimes, especially in our community, they don't want to. They call it snitching. So if they know who did it, sometimes people don't want to speak up.
Right.
Because I'm the type. I'm like this here too. If my son or anybody, because I had a nephew that got shot on Shelton Avenue in New Haven about 8 years ago. He just recently passed. About 2 years ago, from his gunshot wounds, but he lived like another 5 years. But he always had complications, and he finally died, from his
Succumb
gunshot.
to the
Right.
complications.
My first question was the same thing. Did he ever apprehend the person that shot him, which they got him with something else? But yeah, I mean, that's one thing we got to deal with as well, because you got one person dead, the other person either get away scot-free or people scared to say something.
Well, it's the book says unstable man, right? A double-minded man is unstable
in all his ways. Yes.
So, I it's like I'm a taxpayer.
Oh, but
you see something, say something.
Right.
But most people, when it comes to murders, most people are either seen it or they know about it.
Right.
Right. It took a long time for them to apprehend them, and I was very patient for a long time. Then my patience started running thin.
Right.
The police department, and so I started putting the full court press on them. So, but when they arrested him and sentenced him. He'll be coming home soon.
Wow.
Right. When I say real soon.
Yeah, because it's a black on black crime.
Well, he testified too. He became a federal witness. So black lives don't matter, dead or alive.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
my point is this though, Jerry. I'm sentenced to life.
Right.
Wow.
I got you, bro. Because my wife, like I said, she lost a son back in '94 from gun violence as well. So I mean, and that's still to this day here. I was in '94, but to this day here, it still is with us. Right. It's just like it happened yesterday. And it's sad that it happens, man. But anyway, let's talk about your experience growing up in New Haven. Now you are from New Haven, right?
Born and raised.
Born and raised. So let's talk about some of the peer pressure that you had to go through, and how did you overcome, being the person you are today?
Well, first, I'm the oldest of four.
Okay.
So that was pressure right there.
Right. You're the oldest of four, right?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of four. So I had to speak up for my brothers and sisters when they couldn't speak up.
Okay.
So and I remember I remember when me and my brothers, all three of us first started going to school, and me being the oldest, and I remember being 8 years old. My mother had said to me, well, all three are going to school now, and you're the oldest. You gotta protect your brothers.
Right.
You can't come home beat up. That's pressure.
That's pressure, right?
Right.
Being the oldest, right?
Right, but that's pressure. But a couple of years ago, we had a conversation. She brought it back up. I remember that conversation. Of course, I did. And, she gave me one of the highest compliments. She said, "You didn't come home beat up."
There you go. Okay.
Right, so, but I've always been the protector of my. Started with my brothers, trickled down to my cousins, then to my friends, and then to my friends' cousins, and then my friends' friends.
Right.
Right. So when somebody come along and touch what was nearest and dearest to me, I took it personal.
Right.
Right. And it was two reactions. The first question was a natural question. I asked God why. Now I used to run to a lot of people who tell me you can't question God, and I used to be like, "Who told you that?"
You question God,
right? I got a free will,
right?
Right. So I it's a natural and biological question. Why God?
Because God allowed it.
Right.
Yeah,
why God? I get it. Because he was about to take Abraham's son.
Right.
Right. To the ram in the bush. Right. So and then the second was let me tell you, Jerry, I became 16 all over again.
Wow, okay.
The mindset.
In the mindset.
The mindset for 3 days, I can't name no names, but 3 days, me and some people rode around looking because I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
I went back to that, and then that was my only and oldest son, right? A lot of people, a lot of men and fathers cry too. See, this thing is not biblical because a lot of us lost our firstborns.
Right.
Our firstborns.
No, I hear you.
And there's no coincidence, man. This is the things are,
That's deep.
Right. There's not no coincidence. Like when we first sat down and talked about it, your son firstborn, my son firstborn. Right. This thing is more than this. It's happening right now. Whatever we used to read about 6,000 years ago, the Passover.
Still
the
happening now.
Then you 2,000 years later, you get to the slaughter of the innocents. The same thing, right? The same thing. It was the murder of black children.
Right.
That's what that was back then. We might think about in European terms, that was the murder of black children.
Yes, it was.
This whole thing, the whole Old Testament takes place in Africa.
That's right.
Ethiopia and Egypt, still on the continent of Africa, much as like they call it the Middle East.
That's right. That's right. Now you're talking right.
So,
Now you're talking right.
So I could have still been part of the problem. I was 36 when my son passed. I was 17 when he was born. Because I came up in the streets of New Haven. Let me get back to my life. I was stabbed when I was 8 years old. Right. Being the oldest. Back in the day, you used to go to the machine and get the cigarettes. My mother gave 90 cents at the corner store. Two older Puerto Rican boys. Okay, my mother smoked cools back then.
I smoke cools.
So
I know about the cools.
What it was is, it's my nature. I'm not going to allow you to take nothing from me, right? And I gotta go face my mother. That's not happening,
right?
So I had a fight with the two older boys. One of them picked up a wooden stick with some rusty nails. It hit me in the stomach with it. So got my intestines in my hand. Went down the street. I stayed in the hospital about a month. They thought I was going to need a bag for the rest of my life, but I didn't. And ever since then, my grandma used to call me a child of God. Right? So I get out 2 weeks later, hit by a car.
Yeah, kind of rough.
Right. So
bad luck.
I as my grandmother, they say the devil was trying to kill me.
Yeah. Okay.
So the funny thing about that is, I remember getting hit by the car, and I remember when the car stopped. I remember holding on, looking up under the car. Right? And when the car stopped, I rolled right from under the car and asked everybody, "Did y'all see that?" And then meanwhile, I'm looking at the two Puerto Rican ladies. They are bawling. I mean, they are going crazy. Like they are going crazy. So shortly after that, I started spending the summers with my grandmother.
Okay. So was that a good experience?
Living with my grandmother?
Living with your grandmother?
Best experience.
Yeah, okay.
Not the best experience. I had the best everything. I didn't lack for nothing.
Okay.
I had clothing, food.
Okay.
I had a house, I grew up in a house with a front and back door. And she gave me stability and security.
Okay.
Too. So I got to travel.
Praise God, man. Yeah.
Good places, not talking about family union states. I'm talking we travel.
So how would you say your childhood, in your teenage years coming up, the peer pressure, how would you say, how did you do? Would you say you did pretty good there, right?
I didn't have no peer pressure because I didn't I didn't follow. I wasn't a follower. I didn't, most of my friends followed me. I looked up the older guys.
Okay.
But there was no peer pressure, even when I did get involved in the streets, it wasn't a necessity. It was more of a it was more of a lure to fast money.
Okay.
Because I was blessed to have, I didn't have a bad life growing up.
Good.
We didn't go to bed hungry.
Good. Okay.
We didn't miss no birthdays or Christmases, and my mother never went to Niantic. We weren't in the wards of the state.
Right.
So it was when we didn't start getting in trouble until we were older to make our own choices.
Right, you made your own choice.
Right, but we never went to Long Lane and none of that, none of that. We never got kicked out of public school. We didn't have to go to urban youth, nothing like that.
Right. You wasn't really a bad boy then.
Right. And I knew how to function in the classroom setting.
Right.
Because I didn't drop out of high school. I got kicked out. It's a big difference.
Got kicked out.
Right. I didn't drop out because and I end up being part of that 80s mentality, like y'all fresh off the sucker punch era, we bringing the guns in, so I guess I was part of that problem, but now I'm part of the solution. I can remember going to my friend's funeral. I remember I lost the first time I lost a best friend was in January 31st, 1989. His name is Gary Dolphin, and that was the first time death I had close.
Wow.
And that was a year I was losing a lot of friends I used to play basketball with or sell newspapers with downtown. like that 1989, we had that record setting 34 murders.
Yes,
Right.
that was
So,
crazy. It was crazy. You
And
know, because everybody background and growing up is different. You know, just like I could say coming up, I had a dad who was like a sergeant, right? I mean, he was rough, now I look at it was tough love, right? I mean, in other words, I had to be in the house at 12 o'clock till I got 16. I mean, I had to be in the house. If I wasn't in the house, I was on punishment, and I missed a lot of Cool and the Gang concerts, you know, because I was a hard headed kid. All right, it's four of us. I was hard headed, but I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. All right, and it was tough love because he was the type that he'll call the school. You know, I was going to true middle school. If I wasn't getting the homework, and my father would call the school, talk to the teacher. You know, my son didn't get the homework. All right, and it made sure that I got it and I did it. But you know what? It paid off because I could read, I could write. You know, the things that and at that time I was hard headed, but because I was being stubborn because I felt he was just being hard on us. But the same token, like I said, it was tough love, and I'm basically the same way. You know, because I'm a no excuse person myself. You know, by saying like my son, for example, he was going to scholar on the boulevard. All right, he had a chance to get a scholarship. All right, where with his white parents, they would love to send their kids to. So it was like blacks and Spanish going to that school. He had an opportunity. Right. So the teacher, you know, he was acting up. So the teacher was called me one time. I said, "Don't say nothing to him. Just tell me I'll be at the school." So don't tell him I'm coming. So I went there and I got told the teacher in front of him and his class. All right, your job is to teach. It ain't your job to discipline my kid. Your job is to teach. It's my job to make sure he comes to school and do what he got to do. And I gave him my business card, gave him my email address. Have any problem? Don't say nothing to him. Just let me know.
Yeah, it was a male teacher.
It was a male teacher.
I had the same problem with my son too. Right. He called me at home, and I you know.
But a lot of kids don't get that though. Well, see, if you don't get that kind of, sometimes you know where it could be a mom or dad or uncle, whoever. Somebody that's really
somebody that cares.
Somebody that cares.
At least somebody that shows that they give us something about you.
Exactly.
Right, because I remember because you know they already have our children pegged by the third grade from the prison to pipeline.
Exactly.
You know, and having conversation with white teachers, especially female ones, they say that in third grade they're 8 years old, right? So when they bulk up at them, they don't see a preteen, they see a teenager.
Okay, that's right.
A third grade teenager.
Right.
But see, I don't believe all that third grade prison pipeline, because I remember when I was in third grade and the most pressure they had on me was passing that Iowa placement test, the Iowa, you know, and what was the biggest fear in going back to school, staying back.
Yeah.
Right. So they put that they hit you with that fear. If you don't pass this Iowa State test, you're gonna repeat the third grade. Then nobody want to repeat, right? Because all your friends moved on and you back, right? That was the biggest embarrassment, right?
It was embarrassing because my brother stayed back. Right. I got a brother a year older than me. He stayed back a year in I think the 5th grade, and we both graduated together.
At the same time, yeah, right.
So I'm saying, so it was embarrassment to him because I mean his friends moved on. And you know, my dad was really upset.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because I mean,
for the whole summer, huh?
Right, it shouldn't happen. so I hear what you're saying. So he stayed back. I remember that.
Right. So, but getting back to, after a couple of days or so, I had to take hold of the situation.
Right.
Because I still have some friends who are the same age as me, but they still with the BS.
Right. They haven't changed. Right.
Right. No, they didn't. They with it. They encourage it. So I had to take control of the situation.
All right. So let's talk about your organization, Fathers Cry 2 now. How long you been having this organization? Y'all been going on?
Fathers Cry 2 is going 12 years strong. Fathers Cry 2 is a peer therapy support group for men who lost their children to gun violence.
Okay.
Right. Now, the second tier to Fathers Cry 2 is called Tank, which is my son's nickname. Okay. Me and my mother, one day, it's an acronym now. Me and my mother, we got together and we brainstormed. So now TANK stands for Taking Action Not to Kill. So that's when we go into the schools. And I've spoken to a room full of retired social workers, vets, you know, and sometimes I come in I'm still like the invisible man or the spook who sat by the door, because they don't know. They don't. They'll walk right by me. I'll sit right there, say hi, nod my head, right? But I get all the handshakes and the business cards after I do my presentation.
There you go.
Right? Because we wear the mask. Right? See, you familiar with Paul Lawrence Dunbar, right? We wear the mask.
Yep.
Right? It hides everything, the shades and the brim. Right? Because we all wear the mask.
Right.
Right? And I say that to say this, because you never know what a person is going through.
You never know. Right.
Right? You don't. Because let me tell you, this right here, I learned to live with the pain. And it can sneak up on me anytime.
Right.
But I've came a long way. I thank God I've gotten stronger, because at one time I couldn't look at a young father and a little boy, because it reminded me about me and mine.
Yeah.
Because we all suffer collectively. We all suffer from PTSD. We all suffer from it, right? Especially if you lost a child, because that's traumatic.
Yeah.
Right. So and it's good that our people started going to therapy, because Father's Cry 2 is not just a statement, it's a movement. Right? Because we want to debunk all myths and stereotypes that black men are prone to violence and desensitized. Right? Because when I got out of prison in 95, right? When I got out of prison, I was young, my son was still young. Right? So, but I have got the opportunity, the pleasure. I met every last one of his teachers, from kindergarten to the high school principal. And I even coached his basketball team, baseball team. So I was involved, right? And I was involved because after getting out of prison, while I was in prison, I was running into guys who we would transfer from Little Cheshire to Big Cheshire, right? Middle school to high school.
Okay.
Right? That's what we called it. Right? First day of school. Right? So and guys would be meeting their fathers for the first time. Now I done did 2 years with you in Cheshire, and not once you hear anybody talk about their dad, right? Because it's survival. It's 1,400 guys up there that's just as tough as you are, right? So it's called Gladiator School. Now they get milk and cookies, and they got social workers. Now I would ask them, like, who that you in the cell with? Man, you'll never believe it. Who's that? Man, I just met my father. Wow. So when I got out, that was my main motivation, because I said if I didn't get my act together, I'm gonna meet my boy up in here. So it's going to be by example.
Yeah, let's talk about the fathers, because it's Father's Cry too. So let's talk about the fathers a little bit, because I'm a father, right? And you said you was a father. Let's talk about the fathers a little bit. What can the dads do? What can the fathers do to help with some of these problems with the gun violence and kids getting incarcerated? What can the fathers do?
Well, first of all, Father's Cry too. We have to help ourselves.
Okay.
In order to be a service to anybody in the community. So we have to build each other up first, because in the beginning it's rough. It's rough. Like we just
being a father.
No, just you meeting a father who just recently lost a child.
Oh, no, I got you.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you know,
we so what it is, it's back. It's strengthening. And it's because everybody don't talk and can't talk.
Right. So those who is in your organization, those are the ones that lost a young one, a loved one.
Yeah, most of it. Now we have members who haven't lost a child, but they're just part of it. They want to be part of something.
I got you.
Too, but the core of it is me, Keith Richardson, and Charles Clark. We would get in it. We would get in it. We sit in the car and self-medicate, and drink blackberry brandy and cry. And so shortly after that, that's when I threw a prayer up. And when I woke up, Father's Cry too, ticker tape across my forehead like Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a procrastinator. But I'm coming out of procrastination and going to determination now.
Okay.
So I procrastinated with it. I played around, but every so often I would hear that. You know how you hear that still voice?
Right.
Like a whisper. Father's Cry too. Like a reminder. So then I was compelled to move on it. So the words came to me and it just flowed out.
Right.
Right. And it was a word that fit so perfect with it. It was debunk all myths and stereotypes. So I had to go look the word up. Right. It's a French word. It means to ridicule or expose something false. And that's what we want to do. First of all, with the image, because we want to let you know that black men cry too.
Right.
We're not 3/5.
No, right.
We all men.
Right.
So because like at one time I cried every day. But see, this is the whole thing to let people know it's okay.
It's okay.
And so it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry.
Right.
And so come on, we come from the gym. We get up, we gotta tough it up. Shake it. You better not cry outside, right?
Right.
Right. So it's like it's okay for boys to wear pink. Anyway, so but it's okay to cry.
It's okay.
It's and that's what
I mean, especially when you're talking about you lost a loved one. That's your only son, your only daughter. I mean, especially you're talking about violence too, a violent death. Yeah, that hurts. I mean, like I said, that hurts.
It's an insult to your family.
It is because, and actually, it's hurting both families really because you got the sisters and the brothers and the cousins. It affects everybody.
Well, and see, the thing is, if you ever go down to the courthouse and see, this is where we have to know how to communicate with each other instead of going on defense. Because you got two parties. You got the family of the victim and you got the family of the victimizer.
Right.
Right. So the family of the victimizer usually goes on the defense because they don't know how to communicate or come and apologize on behalf of their loved one. So we go on the defense to each other, right? So because your son killed my son, you mad at me.
I agree.
That's our mentality, right?
Yeah.
Because we have the communication skills start with us, right? So now you say, how can we get these children? First of all, we have to teach them conflict resolution skills. Right. And men used to introduce their sons to each other. We don't have that no more because it'll make you think. Right. My father know his father.
Right. And plus, you got to look at the fact that if someone murders somebody, right, you got to look at the murderer, and yeah, of course, most of the time the parent of the murderer, they're upset over that too because most people or most parents did not raise the child to be like that. I'll say most of them.
Well,
right?
see, like
some of them. Well, now, like I told you, I'm old school. So I'm like, for example, see my son's having a daughter in January that's going to be born. I'm like this here. I get it when you're young. When you're young, I don't wait till you get 4 or 5. When I can start hitting you on your hand, put that down, put my keys down, put that down. So you're gonna listen to me, all right? No, if I say I'm watching TV, no, go play with your toys, put that down. See, you get them when they're young.
Yeah, you train the child up. Right?
Then you don't wait till they get 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Now you're trying to raise them.
That's right.
You get them when they're young. So that's why I know who I am. All right, just like my son said, when we was in church, I got him when he was young. I don't need an usher to come. I'll go take him in the bathroom. Bam, 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 bam. Now we did it about maybe 4 weeks in a row. After that, I had no more problem. And the problem was over after that because he knew I wasn't playing, right? And that's how I call it tough love, but it's a thing of respect. And that's why when I talk to fathers or any man, you got to keep everything in its proper perspective. If I'm Uncle Jerry, I'm Uncle Jerry. I'm not Uncle Jerry and I'm your friend. No, we don't arm wrestle. We don't slap box. You talk to me with respect. I talk to you with respect because you always got to keep that distance. Because if not, once the kids start taking over, they rule your house, then you're a prisoner in your own home.
Yeah, see, I don't allow that, and I wasn't.
I'm just saying, am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. I totally agree with you.
You're a prisoner in your own home.
If I could just interject for a second, because this is really good, because even the system, when they want to remove the male figure from the household, then the system have control of that household.
Right.
So even with even disciplining the child, when they made these laws, that it put up a barrier for the parent between the child.
To control.
Control. That's right.
From the parent.
So knowing that, these things, and I like that you're being transparent, and it's these young people, see, when they internalize a lot of things, then things escalate, like a balloon. You know, it keeps swelling up to
Right.
where it busts. So we have to, you know, let things out. And I'm glad that you're and transparent in this way that it to help some of these young people. You know, and even dealing with COVID, so much stuff that went on through the time of being isolated.
Right.
People got to let that out. You know, there's a thing we call it. It's called communal meals, and what that is like gatherings. That where that even for the church, we need to have those fellowships like a time like now with Thanksgiving. I look at a lot of people. You starting to see Christmas stuff and everything out here. This is a time of the year that we really need to bring the family unit back to the table because we've gotten so far from the table.
That's right.
We've gotten so far from the table. I know a lot of things when I was growing up, we had to be in the house 6 o'clock for dinner.
Do families still eat at tables though?
Yeah, but that's not happening these days because of the work. Yeah. But we have to get back to that. We have to make that because it was so much the values that we stand upon and that kept us in line.
But that's where the parents got to come in at the father. That's why I said I call it tough love.
Yeah,
I call it tough love because it got to be tough because I mean because when you're young, because I was young too. When you're young, you're trying to find yourself. It is some peer pressure. You got trying to be cool. Start smoking cigarettes and chasing the women. You're trying to be cool, but the same token, you're staying in your parents' house. All right, somebody got to have the rules of the house.
That's it.
Right. I mean, that's just like if I knew that my son that wasn't working or my cousin, whoever, and he come home with a car, and I know he ain't working a lick. Right, and he walk around with some Jordan sneakers with a knot full of money. Where the money coming from?
I used to have to hide my clothes.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I did. My grandmother worked third shift, so I used to have my Jordan sweatsuit. And one day I slipped. I walked in the house after school. She always sized me up. She said, "I've never seen nobody with a matching pair with a sweatsuit and the sneakers to match it." I looked at because I used to hide my clothes up under the porch. Right.
Wayne, I mean, now, Dr. Wayne, now, if you knew you had a nephew or your son, whoever, right, and you know that this boy, is not working a lick, right, and he pulls up, got a knot full of money, pocket full of money, right, see him, and he's hanging with these drug dealers.
Don't take a rocket scientist.
Now, it's up to you to deal with that, though.
Right. How you approach that, right?
Now, you can let it go and say, or you got to deal with it.
But if you let it go, you'll let it go. If because you have to put the something have to give, right? Two of us can't occupy the same space, right? The town not big enough for the both of us, right? Right. So it's going to be one sheriff.
One sheriff, right?
That's right. It's going to be one sheriff, right? I get it. I can relate totally to the rebellion and the defiance.
Yeah,
I'm not having it.
Yeah, but that's why I said either the father, and even I go as far as the uncles. All right, if I saw, I got a lot of nephews, and all of them know me. If they saw me and they're doing something wrong, I'm a Jay because that's what an uncle is for. Uncle is supposed to step in when dad ain't around.
But Jay,
if you're a good uncle, I mean, if you're the uncle that's doing the same thing they doing, you out there smoking with them and you out there playing cards and you doing the same thing, they totally lose respect for you. Then they got you. So that's why to me, like I said, it got to be. I mean, like my kids and I went to the games together. That's about all we did. I took them to see Kobe Bryant and see Michael Jordan and LeBron. We did that together. But it was always still that dad and son.
That's right.
You ain't gonna talk to me like you talking to Joe, one of your boys.
Let me enlighten you. I want to bring some because we getting close to, and I don't like to use the pagan holidays to explore. But I want to enlighten us as believers to something because every time one of the things God's been dealing with me about two things. We know that the wise men that they were how they was led to find Jesus was through a star.
Okay, yep.
See, astronomy is one thing, but see, biblically, the church, we bypass that. But and they carry three things. They carry gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
That's right.
And those was gifts that they brought.
Because they represent royalty.
That's right. And then also frankincense and myrrh, medically, you know, that's
natural.
part. Yeah, it's part of medicine, right? Right now, that's one aspect, because the light will always lead us to the Lord. Amen. Well, you know, so that's one thing that I look at with that, and to look at more, because we just don't really grasp or understand that. And another thing, now here, Jesus, now the birth of Jesus came through Mary, which Joseph was technically the first stepfather, right? Technically, because here's God.
Biblically.
Yeah, biblically, yeah. And biblically, and God showing that the dysfunction in the world. See, we look at the manger, Christmas, and all that, but we miss the whole purpose, because God was showing us the dysfunction in the world from the beginning. And then because a lot of us, you know, have raised other people's children as well.
Well, that's the village concept.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Right?
So God was even showing us through the birth that there was dysfunction in the world.
Well, I'm pretty sure Joseph knew that wasn't his son.
Yeah.
So
but then
imagine that.
But then
he had to go through. But
yeah,
you know, just from you can imagine the millie he had to go through around from the men in the village. You know, white father pregnant, but not by you. Back then you get shunned.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
Yeah,
right. And that's why she ended up giving birth to him in the barn. Right. So, but you know, I thank God for Father's Cry too.
Amen. This is a great organization, and I commend you.
It's necessary, you know.
Yeah.
I needed it, right? You know, and to be a service to others. Now, are you familiar with comic books? Professor X, the X-Men?
Yes.
Okay. Now, anyway, Professor X, he put on this machine called Cerebro.
Okay.
Right? Now, when he puts Cerebro puts him in contact with every mutant on the planet.
Wow.
Right? Now, New Haven is a microcosm of that. And everybody know everybody. Right? So things are so tight that there's no more of a 6-degree separation. Right? See, because most of us lose our children, just brings us this much closer. Right? So it's probably just 1 degree between us. You know,
right.
So now I have to become Professor X. I have to put Cerebro on. Anytime I hear somebody's child get murdered here in New Haven, I'm gonna find out through third party anyway. But I have to put Cerebro on and go sort that and go look for that father, because now we are alike. We got something in common.
Right. Let me just do this Action First broadcast on W.J.R.G radio with Dr. Wayne McCray. I'm Jerry Green, and we have our special guest this evening, Brother Thomas Daniels, with the organization Fathers Cry 2. And we're speaking about some of the fathers and parents, mothers that lost loved ones through violence, you know, not only just in New Haven, you know, around the country. And it's something that's really out of control. So anybody want to give me a call, the number also is 475-227-2170. If you have any questions, you can give us a call. And this is my brother, Thomas Daniels. So if you have any questions, give us a call. We are streaming live as well on Facebook also now. Now, what advice would you give a father, you know, that's never heard of your organization, that lost a loved one? What advice would you give them as well? You know, to try to comfort them, you know.
You're not alone.
Okay.
You're not alone, simply because I felt like I was alone in the beginning. I mean, I was.
Okay.
Right? And when I say alone, right, because the reality is like this. After all the beautiful scriptures is read and all that fried chicken going,
right,
when it's just you,
that's right. You got to deal with it.
Everybody, people get caught more up in the funeral in the moment than you do, right? And I say that to say this because in reality, I come calling by 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm crying uncontrollably. People gotta go to work, and in reality, don't nobody really want to hear it.
Right.
It's the bottom line, right? And that was my reality. One of my realities. The other reality is that every day I have to live with the fact that I mean that I have no more sons, that my father and our bloodline ends with me. That's it. Got 2 daughters. We idealistically we want our daughters, they marry off and carry somebody else's name, right? Somebody else's bloodline, right? But my reality that I have to live with every day is that it stops here.
Right.
Right. See, that's why you never know what a person going through.
You don't know.
Right. You know, this is what we wear the mask.
And like we said, it affects the whole family too. You said
It-
you
it-
had 2 daughters, right?
it-
So it affect them as well.
Well, the youngest one don't never knew me, but I have a 23-year-old daughter. I remember when a couple of days after it happened, she wanted to go to the scene. So I took her, and she had made a statement. She said, "Daddy, they took him. They took him." See, so it's a. Remember, I said we have to have a renewal of mind and things like that because we acculturate things. So we turn these murder scenes into shrines. Now we didn't grow up lighting candles.
Right.
That's a Catholic thing.
Right.
Right, we don't do that, right? But if go by a murder scene and we got candles set up. Somebody's making $1 billion off the pens. I never wore a pen because I carry my son in my heart.
I got you, man. I got you. It's sad, but like you said, you're doing something positive, with your organization, Fathers Cry Too, and that's very true, man. Fathers, we do cry as well.
Yeah.
We have, I mean, come on. I mean, it's not easy, man.
And we're human beings.
Right, we're human
That's right.
beings, and like you said, and like I said, even being a good dad, it's. I mean,
It's challenging. It's hard.
It's challenging.
It's hard, especially like see me.
Boy, I got a daughter too, so I got a boy and a girl. It was tough on a daughter too because you got to raise your daughter a certain way too with certain standards.
And it's so different with the see. It's different, right?
Right.
And I was having a conversation about the difference. Boys will gang bang their doors and boom, that's right in, right? Little girls, we give them respect.
Right.
Give them time. Right? Yeah. Boys, we buzz right in on them. Girls, we give them too much respect.
Right.
And then plus they be having us wrapped around their fingers.
Oh, without a doubt.
And we're not out of respect because we don't want to catch them. They have to be decent. We come in their room.
Well,
so we give them time
right.
to whatever they're doing. Boys, we kicking them in. Boom!
Right.
What's going on in here?
90% of the time.
It's a big difference.
90% of the time, the girls are daddy's girls.
Right. And we're going to give them that much respect,
And
Jerry.
the
We're going to knock on that door.
And the boys are mama boys.
Right, yeah.
Right? I mean, we're mom. We're gonna. I don't give. That's my Johnny. He gonna burn down the building. All right. He gonna kill 20 people. That's still my Johnny. All right. I mean,
that's why when he get in trouble, like, where my mama?
Right,
Somebody
right,
go get my mama.
Right. And
Call
mom,
my mother.
and mom is also the type of that I don't care if the boys out there and the cops got the the horn out there calling them. She go there smack in front of everybody, and if she get away with it because moms can do that with the boys. All right. She can do that. She goes there and slap him. What I tell you, boy, pow. I mean, he's supposed to be big bad Johnny. All right, now but I'm saying, mom can do that.
Yeah.
I didn't see my wife do that.
Why you got embarrassed me in front of my friends?
I didn't see her do that. I mean, pow, I couldn't do it. I mean, no, I couldn't get away with it with her son. I seen her do it.
You get handcuffed
Right,
in front of police.
Moms can do that with the boys.
Yes.
All right, because boys they're gonna look out for their moms. All right, now us dads, the girls got us. We're especially, because we overprotective of the girls because most time the girls, when they find a man, they're gonna try to find somebody the way dad is. Right now dad's out there drinking and everything. That's why most time, or most time, a lot of girls get into abusive relationships if they see dad beating their mom because they think that's how her husband's supposed to be. So they looking up to dad.
They think that's natural.
They think it's natural.
Right.
So we play an important role, man.
Exactly.
With kids in their development.
Image is everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Image is, we always say the first impression. No, it's only one impression.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
It's only one impression.
And that's why I'll say it again. Is if you want to be successful in anything, right? Is sometimes things got to be tough. People don't understand it because they don't see your background. They just see
what they see.
They see what they see. They don't know the whole story. All right. And a lot of times, if you have a nice family, But most time it was work involved.
Mhm.
It wasn't like them kids just grew up, I mean, no, they make choices, but they didn't see when they were little kids what dad and mom did.
Yeah.
Like I said, you gotta get them when they're young.
I was part of that impatient generation.
Right.
I wanted I came with a middle class family. People worked. I watched my grandparents work. Right. I had my first job selling newspapers downtown back in the day. Remember down paper boys downtown. Remember I had a job
shoes and stuff. I did
Right,
that.
I had a job downtown.
Okay.
And,
Help people with their groceries.
Yeah.
right. Like I was 11 years old. That's why I met my future wife.
I got you.
I was 11. She was 17.
Okay.
But I didn't know she was gonna be my wife. I just
got
read
you.
she was working at E&S Plus back in the day.
I got you.
So I was just selling newspaper. Remember Duchess used to be downtown.
Mhm.
So
I remember Duchess.
they see what it was, and when I got introduced into selling drugs, it wasn't out of necessity. Was nobody starving in the house. Like I said, the fast money was a lure.
Right.
It was the fast money because I wanted it.
You want it right there.
I remember I told my grandmother I wanted another pair of Jordans, right? Because my freshman year going to high school, they still had cedar jobs.
Okay.
So the deal was this: whatever you save, I'll match, right? So I had a cedar job in the daytime and I washed dishes at night. So in 3 months, I saved about $600. Right, that's including the outfit for the rap concert, right? So when I showed her my money, she was surprised. Right, she said, "How much money you got?" So I went my shoebox out, count 600 big ones.
600 big bucks.
Whoa, right, so I'm going to school. I'm a freshman. I got Jordans on, freshman. So, but now the Air 2s is getting ready to come out. Then you gotta get a pair of Jordans. Yeah, but this is what I need you to do. I want a pair of Jordans. No, I want the Jordans now.
Right.
But it was the patience, because I had a job. I could work. I would, but I liked the fast money.
Yeah.
But
But you look at the big picture. You wanted it then and now. But
Right.
see, one thing.
And I got it. I got it.
You got it.
I'm not talking about this Jordan. I got it.
Right.
I got the business,
Right.
the system.
Yeah. But the thing about where I tell a lot of people, that get into the drugs and because I always say a lot of people try to take a shortcut, right? I mean, either you're gonna work or you try to take that shortcut. And it ain't no shortcuts because eventually you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get caught because one thing about the police department as well, they might unless they get paid off, they know all the drug dealers. They know the drug houses, all right? They know them, all right? And eventually, because they'll give you enough rope to hang yourself. And most of the guys, it might be a 5-year run. You might be super fly for a while, but eventually, most of them will wind up on Whaley Avenue.
But
Not the same.
What I found out was like this, like police, is not to them, but they're not crime stoppers. They come after the crime is committed.
Right. Okay.
Right. So it's like I found out if me, you, and Wayne know what's going on in the streets, the police do too.
Right, exactly.
Because somebody's telling them what's going on in the street. You don't see it's not law and order out there. You don't see no detectives running around in back alleys.
I agree.
Connors Avenue, Dixwell Avenue, knocking on doors and things like that. No, 99% of their work is done from the streets.
Right. No, I'm just saying. See, I try to explain to a lot of younger people. When I see them going down that road or certain roads, they're looking for like you said, they want the Jordans. They want everything now.
Yeah.
All right. They're not looking at the future. All right. They're not looking at the future, or they want it now. And most of the guys, trust me, I've seen a lot of them. They wind up in jail, or they wind up got a police record so bad, they messed their life up so bad. Now when they're trying to get this stuff together, all right, now it's kind of tough.
Well, I'm going through that right now.
Because the choices that people make.
That I made around 16, 17, 30 years later, I'm trying to rectify it right now because I'm not that same person no more anyway.
But that's where when you're 16 and 17 and 15 and 14, that's where either Uncle Joe or somebody got to try to put their foot right there to try to keep it from going down that road.
Let me tell you,
because they're trying to tell you what's going to happen down the road if you don't get it's going to happen because life is like 4 parts. You got your childhood, your teenage years, you got your middle years, then you got your older years when you retire. Now if you don't work when you're doing something when you're young, when you get old, you're still going to need money. You're still going to need something to take care of you. So everything is a cycle, and everything is like you got to plan like that. And sometimes when we're young, we're not thinking about things because we're thinking about, I mean, it's like when the guys got to have all these babies. Some guys have like 5, 6, 7 babies. All right, somebody got to take care of it.
Yeah, but they don't even know why they do that
That's
themselves.
right.
Like because like that's one of the psychological effects of slavery that we suffer from.
Exactly.
When they used the black man, they took him around the plantation as a breeding horse, as a slave horse, right? And he had these babies, right? And they have to look back with no responsibility, right? So that gene trickled down,
right? Yeah. But that's where when I'm saying we as black parents, the older ones, I'm gonna give you uncle, your young, we have to tell them while they're young. I mean, they some people ain't gonna want to hear it. They're gonna, they see they're gonna go the other way. They don't want to hear it. But the bottom line is that's where I said we have to kind of school them and try to tell them the right way because experience is the best teacher.
Yes, it is. I totally agree.
We done been on that road. We done seen the road. You traveling. We don't want you to travel on that road. That's all I'm saying.
Now the flip side to that uncle, right? Now the flip side to the uncle is you got the uncles who encourage and proud that their nephew is a successful, big time drug dealer. They dote on that.
Without a doubt.
Right? Like so.
And
look where the mentality come from. They brag about it. My nephew such and such. He getting it, he doing it, but he ain't giving it to you.
Right.
But the thing is,
all right.
But
no, I got you. So anyway, it's 6:51. Let's talk about your play. Yeah, let's talk about your play. The Father's Mad Content presents a theatrical read of Father's Cry 2. All right, now let's talk about your play.
Well, Father's Cry 2 is the play is like it's just another segue to get the message out there.
Okay.
Right. Once again, that was another vision that was given to me.
You have a date? You don't have a date yet for the
No,
play?
not yet. It's actually still. We have 4 excellent actors locally from New Haven. The play is the Father's Cry 2 play is a progression where it's all of us amalgamated to 4 different characters, and the progression is you watching us go from boys to men, to fathers who lost.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So.
All right. So whatever we can do, Action First broadcast and W.J.R.G. When you get a date for the play, make sure you let us know so we can help.
I'll come back.
Come on back, and also
one other thing I just want to say, with the fathers in your program, because of COVID, and we know that through death, a lot of people lost loved ones.
Right.
Are you opening your doors to fathers for different experience instead of the gun with the
gun? We did that a long time ago. Like I say, man, it started out like that.
Right.
But death don't discriminate on no boundaries.
That's right.
So and I also want to say that just because it was founded by a group of black men, that don't mean it's just inclusive.
Okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Right.
So, Brother Thomas, you have a contact information for those who listen on the radio, and maybe Dr. Wayne put it on the screen. You have a website or email or phone
I have
number?
email address.
Anybody want to come by?
The email address would be you have it up there as a T134 at gmail.com.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the Action First broadcast on W.J.R.G. Radio. I'm Jerry Green along with Dr. Wayne McCray, and we have our special guest, Brother Thomas Daniels with Father's Cry 2 organization. He has a play that's going to be coming out very shortly, and we'll give you the date and the time as soon as we get that date. And any final words, Dr. Wayne, before we sign off?
Well, only thing at this time I want to just say, man, I want to thank you for being transparent, man, and coming on today because, it's about taking action first.
That's right.
And I tell you, man, I'm really, and I pray that our listeners, that they go back, and those that haven't seen it, and that you share it with your friends, because it was some vital things that you share and being transparent that the men need to hear and let them know that it's all right, because they have to, we internalized for so long. It's time that, you know, it's so right to cry, it's so right to release, because
That's right.
those things that it keeps us grounded.
Right.
It keeps us grounded. So I want to thank you for being transparent today.
Appreciate
The only thing I want to say, I want to thank you for taking action first. So can you say that with me?
Action.
Action first.
All right.
All right.
All right. I want to thank my brother Thomas Daniels. Thank you some more of your great gospel music.